Should you actually play RuneScape Dragonwilds? That was the heart of this video, and it was gonna be a short video, like maybe 5 or 10 minutes, but I talk a shit ton. So to kind of counteract that, I added a lot of timestamps below so you can jump to the things that you're the most interested in, and you don't have to just listen to me yap the whole time. But what is RuneScape Dragonwilds? Well, Jagex, the developer behind RuneScape, shocked the world with the announcement and subsequent surprise shadow drop of their new survival co-op RPG based in the RuneScape IP on April 15th, 2025. Since then, I've had some time to get in and play the game, and I came away surprised, impressed, and eager for more. RuneScape Dragonwilds is an MMO adjacent title based in one of the most well-known MMO IPs that has a ton of potential, but of course is still limited by being in early access, a game stage with some very notable issues that may make players want to hold off, as well as some issues that are sort of built into the game, like the fact that it only allows 4 players. That one's gonna be a rough one. If I could sum it up in relative terms, I'd call RuneScape Dragonwilds a game that sits midway between Valheim and Enshrouded, that pulls, at least on a surface level, from its namesake. Let's talk about some of the issues with early access, some of the things that they've said on their roadmap that they're going to be adding and fixing, as well as just how the game plays right now and what you can expect if you decide to jump in. And I apologize in advance for the times that I use clips of my voice acting. There I was, chasing down a beastman runt, when a great walloping dragon comes out of nowhere and lands on the goblin boss man, squashes him into jelly, and not the good kind with bits of fruit, the bad kind with bits of chieftain. I don't know if acting is the right term. Before we get too deep into the game mechanics, how it works, and the presentation, we've got to get this big ass dragon out of the way. This game is in early access, which means a lot of things to a lot of people. Early access is an active development state for a game, meaning it is incomplete, it will be buggy, and it will have continued issues, as well as, content issues. So let's talk about what I found to be issues, as well as the roadmap and what they've talked about fixing and adding to the game. Because quite honestly, the early access stage for this game is shorter than what you might expect. At least that's what they're aiming for, because they want to launch this game in full in 2026, early in 2026. With many games now taking several years in early access, that's ambitious. I'm not 100% sure that they'll be able to do it, in all honesty, given some of the issues I encounter, but we'll see. And honestly, this is probably the most negative section, talking about the early access issues, because if I'm just being completely honest with you here, I'm gonna be glazing a lot of this game. Okay, I just need a little bit more wood, and then I can craft my lovely little monument that you'll see here in a little bit. And now I just chop it. Oh, that is not how physics work. Game is in early access, and now we get to see why. It's floating woods. One of the biggest issues in early access that I've found, which is actually kind of surprising to me, because I figured they'd have it in at this point, is that they have very, very, very little music. This is perhaps one of my biggest issues, because music can be so transformative to a game. Starting a boss fight and hearing silence, or entering a new area and hearing maybe a few muted notes here and there, were very disheartening. Obviously this will change, but it's worth noting. To get an idea of what I mean, take a listen to this, the exact same clip with how it currently stands, and then with actual music added. On the same through line as music, though not as egregious because there are quite a few of the sound effects in there, there are still significant sound effects that are just missing. Like lightning with no thunder is a bit jarring. I feel like the main things that I'm missing from the game right now, because it's early access, sound effects, because I mean there's thunder happening, lightning and thunder, right? But there's no thunder.
Yeah.
And music. There's also the usual limits to content. This game is incomplete with even things like the magic and range trees not having a skill line yet. None of the trees going all the way to their 99 caps. The same goes for crafting recipes, regions, enemy types, etc. I'd actually suggest that at the current, it feels like this might actually have less content than Enshrouded or Valheim had when they launched into EA. But that doesn't mean that the content it does have isn't engaging, because it certainly is. There's definitely an ambitious amount of work for Jagex to do if they reach their hoped-for date of early access in early 2026. The next part, and I'm not entirely sure if this is by design or if this is just something that's an issue with early access and things not being necessarily dialed in or tuned the way that they need to be, but it has to do with one of the most surprising and exciting moments in the game, and how after you explore it a little bit, it feels a little lackluster.
Leonard Degrassi or something like that?
Leonard Degrassi?
Is that his name? The science guy, the other science guy. He's pretty cool. Oh wait, I forgot to eat. No, Red, help. Help.
Wait.
Okay, I'm alive. I'm at 1 HP. I almost died, bro.
Here, I just dropped some fried cabbage. Eat the cabbage.
Thank you so much.
Jesus.
Holy crap, I forgot.
Oh, what the fuck? Where's the dragon? Oh!
That fucking scared me.
What the fuck?
I'm poisoned. I'm dying.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Baby. Oh my god. Oh shit. What is happening?
Bro, what is happening right now?
Ah!
Hey, bitch, I just built this house. What the hell?
What the fuck? Oh my god.
What just happened? Why are we being attacked? Bro, you know what? They came for you because of the beams, bro.
Oh
they
my
came
god.
because of the beams.
The fucking dragon.
Holy shit, bro. What the fuck?
Get in the house,
This is so not chill.
Get in the house. Get in the house.
I'm
Get in the house.
I'm running.
Wait, there's poison in the house.
Oh, there's poison in the house.
Oh shit.
The fucking chicken is attacking me.
That chicken's about to get obliterated, dude.
What's happening? Red. Oh.
Wait, did you die to the chicken? Did you fucking die to
Bro, why did it was literally
Wait.
It was Stardew Valley like 5 minutes ago. What the fuck happened?
What is happening? What the fuck?
Oh my god. What do we do? Fucking chicken. I don't want to get away from me, chicken. Oh, it's over.
It stopped.
I think it's over.
Holy shit. Early on in the game, one of the most thrilling moments is when a dragon attacks your settlement, and it's initially exciting, but then it feels a bit underwhelming. No nearby NPCs react to it. They don't take any damage. In fact, despite the devastating look of the attack, the only thing that actually you really need to worry about taking damage is yourself. Even direct hits on your home do very little damage to your home, and there's an immersion breaking element where the attacks ignore the very physics of the game, which were so hard won, like needing roofs and beams, because attacks phase right through them. No sitting in your home hoping your roof holds, because the poison spray just goes straight through it. Another area of polish is lighting. As good as it is, at times it feels blown out, and the darkness does not feel very dark at all. I've tried to adjust calibration, but everything still feels too bright, especially the night. Especially light sources that just feel overblown, whether it's your little light source that you summon, which really just feels like a tiny little sun that you has hovering over your shoulder, or adding a torch or two, and how they just really just make everything really blown out. This goes for weather as well, where lighting effects and rain are muted due to those lighting issues. Weather in general, I think, needs some tuning. Much of the effects are fantastic, like how the rain looks on your character and on your buildings or on the ground, but it's very faint and sometimes it's hard to actually even tell that it's raining. Part of this is also the sound effect. You see how all these things kind of go together, and why when one piece is missing and then another piece is missing, it starts to kind of show up a little bit more. I would love to see them greatly expand and polish the weather system through early access. One of the interesting parts of what Jagex has said about the game is they plan to have seasonal events in the 1.0 version of the game. Seasonal doesn't necessarily mean weather, but one of the most impressive things from another survival game, Bellwright, was how seasons changed things. Snow, rain, etc. Even rudimentary changes to make the world feel more dynamic and reactive would go a long way. Think about enemy types changing, for example. But now that that's out of the way, let's actually talk about what could be coming, what they have said will be coming in the roadmap, because it's actually a fair amount and it addresses a lot of the concerns I had. First, before we get into the meaty new stuff of the roadmap, they talked about some of the ongoing improvements, some of the things that could fix a lot of those issues, like lighting and weather, multiplayer and difficulty, combat, performance, and messaging. All stuff that's not like sizzle worthy, but it's very, very important to make this game feel good. But the big highlight, of course, is that they've got this crazy new region in the works that sounds spooky as hell. The Fell Hollow, a region suspended between life and death and ruled by the Soul Eater dragon, Imaru. While the first region was guided by the Old Man, in the new region we are being guided by death against challenges from ghosts, skeletons, even undead ogres. And this shit just sounds right up my alley, because I mean, hell, Halloween is my favorite holiday. I have a skeleton. I have a literal skeleton right there. Okay, so now he's right here, but I have a literal skeleton in my room. So I can't wait for this area, right? This also adds an interesting idea where they could basically take this post-launch by adding in new regions that kind of follow the same loop of questing, growth, and end region boss dragons. On the list of things that they'll be adding, it addresses just about every content concern and EA concern I had, from building defenses and expanded base building to more critters and animals, more enemy types, more vaults, which are essentially dungeons, new crafting tiers, skills, magic, quests, lore, masterwork weapons, hardcore mode, creative mode, etc., etc. Magic, ranged, and farming. There's a lot. There's just a whole lot going into it. Especially when you again revisit that aggressive plan that I'm still not sure how they're gonna do it, but early 2026 for a full 1.0 release. Maybe I'm just being a little pessimistic about that, because these survival games tend to sit in early access for a while, though honestly a lot of the survival games are from studios that are much smaller than Jagex. I also want to point out here that in their early access little blurb on Steam, they do mention that they will be likely raising their price for 1.0 to represent a more complete game. And while updates in early access won't have any cost, they are considering DLCs post 1.0. So this is probably the cheapest you'll get the game, but also the most incomplete that you'll get the game. Let's talk a little bit about graphics and world building. The game, even though the lighting does need work, already does an excellent job of bringing the visual presentation up a notch, with it much like Valheim and how they made some of the blockiest, most low-res graphics look freaking incredible with tremendous lighting. RuneScape is pretty, it's vibrant, and because it's not a procedurally generated world and instead a handcrafted world with locations that actually show that, it feels meaningful, kind of like Enshrouded, which also has a handcrafted world. You may lose some replayability by not going the procedural route, but there's something special about a world made by devs to be experienced. Building materials, textures, armor, weapons, and even characters and enemies all look really freaking good. Even animations are already in a great spot, and the visual effects from magic are freaking awesome. They've done a lot of work here, and it really shows that the graphic style isn't quite what you expect with every one of these games that looks this way. It's got kind of its own unique look to it, which is actually a little bit like how Valheim and Enshrouded, and I'm going to be talking about those two games a lot too, because that's kind of where this game is sitting for me right now. And that's high praise because I think Enshrouded and Valheim are kind of the top tier of this genre. Even though both of those games aren't actually even fully released yet. The in-world enemies respawn, they have camps, you get hunted while you're out in the wild, like they actually, like a little hunting band comes and tries to murder you, and they raid your village or your home. It all adds an element to the world feeling kind of alive in a very good way, and I hope they continue to expand it. I hope different regions end up with different sorts of raids and hunts, and add in the ability for different actions to increase or decrease how frequent they are. In Bellwright, another survival game, for example, raiding bandit villages makes you more notorious, leading to, well, bigger bandit raids. There are also more enemy types than I would have originally thought for a game like this, and especially in early access, but there is always room for more. But with those enemy types, you're gonna be stabbing them a lot, a whole lot. And so let's talk about combat. Combat in general initially felt a bit rough. Hitboxes were small and your strikes are very slow, but that was largely because I wasn't using an actual weapon. As you start to get more gear, like actual gear that you're supposed to use for combat instead of trying to hit shit with your mining pickaxe, you come to realize something. The combat in the game is actually, it's kind of easy. Add some spells like you're enchanting your weapons and fire or casting spells on enemies and it starts to feel much smoother, but also, again, easier. Difficulty tends to come from numbers more than individual enemies, and that is where it gets a bit more intense. You can quickly get overwhelmed by a warband if you weren't prepared. You have other things to deal with that, like you have ways like potions that you can do, you can use the environment to your advantage, you can run, you can hide, and it ends up working pretty well to make a combat system that's engaging, but not overly challenging, at least not yet, which is why I'm excited for them to add in things like a hardcore mode and things like maybe some more difficulty settings, perhaps. Just, I gotta remember not to do stupid shit like make the game as difficult as possible when Enshrouded gave you the option to make the game as difficult as possible. Player mana 25%, stamina 25%. So yeah. Oh god, no!
Remember, you decided this.
Oh my gosh.
I make dumb choices.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking idiot sometimes, I swear. Combat is kind of basic. You can either use mouse and keyboard or controller and both work fine. They both feel good. You can dodge, you can parry, and combo attacks by attacking several times, with the subsequent combos being more devastating. They have melee, range, and magic all in, but range and magic currently don't have skill trees. Though there is a separate tier of magic of spells that you cast, like enchantments that are separate from that magic tree, or at least separate right now, that you can just cast whether you're doing melee or ranged or whatever. And like wind, for example, and enchanting your weapon with wind will make you attack faster. Enchanting your weapon with fire will make you use fire damage. And there's different enemy types that take more damage from certain types of elemental damage. Like I was saying, the enemy variety is better than what I'd expect from early on in early access, but I'm eager to see this expand greatly to make this a truly awesome experience. I'd also love to see more gear from other sources, not just crafting. I think some of these survival games lose a fantastic element from mmorpgs, which they're kind of directly copying by putting all itemization through crafting. One of the first things I modded in Valheim was item drops from enemies. I would love to see that here. But at least the goblins drop little bags of goodies that include some variety, and there are chests that have things in the world, normally after defeating a boss, especially a lot of recipes that are, make you want to go and explore. We're also currently limited to just a few playstyles in combat: one-hander and shield, ranged bow, magic staff, or eventually a big old two-hander. I hope as the game grows, even post 1.0, they add in more weapon styles and magic to make it feel a bit broader. Dual wielding and necromancy, for example. They've got room to improve and to add skills and continuously add skills. Something that will bring back players long after launch. Although honestly, the big two-handed sword is pretty freaking cool.
Don't mind me, just mining away.
Shit, there's 2 of them. Hey, BB.
All right. So, oh shit! What the hell?
Oh shit, I'm dying. Greggy killed me.
It's because you should have probably turned off that thing. Because yeah, he probably doesn't know.
Greggy just straight up murdered me. So one other bit of stuff here. I may have accidentally turned on friendly fire, and it has issues, especially when you're trying to work together to kill things. So it creates some difficulties in that, because yeah, it hurts when that big ass 2-handed sword cleaves through your torso. But I also did it for the content and because I wanted to do shit like this.
I stayed up till 2 a.m. playing video games last night. Who said we need to sleep?
Our stamina bar. Look at your
stamina bar. Oh, you mean in
bar.
the game? Oh, okay, sorry. What the fuck, bro? Oh my god. Hold on, I'm trying to. Oh wait, do you want to go to sleep?
Putting friendly fire on was one of the best.
Wait, can we sleep in the same bed? I hate that you can't lock on.
Come here.
I guess you can't parry your teammates. No, yeah. Oh, wow. Really
I can't see your health. I can't see your health.
Oh my god,
I didn't know.
Bro, I'm all the way back. Oh my goodness, Red.
Look, I can't see your health.
So I didn't even attack you. Oh my god. I'm running back.
I'm sorry. It's just fun to murder BB.
I did warn you about the possible brain rot that would happen, so hey. You know, oh, what the hell?
What?
Bro, I'm already dying from hunger. You just gonna smack me like that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's messed up.
I have no idea. What are you? What? What are you talking about?
That's crazy, yo. It really do be your own boys, though.
Now we talk about survival. We have to talk about building, and I'm bad at it, but let's still talk about it. If you played a survival game, you'll be familiar with building in RuneScape Dragonwilds, though perhaps I should clarify that if you played a game like Valheim, you'll be even more familiar with it, because building is much closer to that than, say, Enshrouded. You'll need the use of support beams, for example, to build your roof. And maybe you use the wrong fucking beams and your friend makes fun of you over and over again because you used the little beams instead of the big beams because, I don't know, you wanted maybe some room for activities in the little house that you had built. And then maybe you take that friendly fire that you added onto the server and you make them regret all the bullying. What beams did you put?
You know,
what beams
these
did you
right
put?
here for the. I put these beams here for the edges, right?
Okay, yeah.
So like, you know, and then we have this.
Look, you have more room
what
for activities.
What the hell is that?
You have more
Can
room
somebody
for activities.
tell me?
If you lose,
Can somebody tell me what the hell that is?
Look at all this room. Look.
Bro, I'm surprised the damn house
There's so
hasn't
much
fallen
room
on top of us.
There's so much room for activities.
Yeah, no. Wow.
Activities.
You just took out my armor, bro. You owe me some freaking armor shit.
So yeah, basically it has a physics-based building system where you can't just build gigantic monstrosities that, like when I built a home that was teabagging my friend's home in Enshrouded, because there wasn't any need for any kind of supports. Supports in Enshrouded are essentially there that you make them for aesthetics. In this game, you actually have to support what you're building, like architecturally. Interesting enough though, and kind of in a cool thing, it doesn't use a limiting mechanic that many survival builders do. You can actually just kind of start building anywhere. No need to lay down some sort of foundational piece that has a build radius. I love this kind of freedom. It gives me the opportunity to build monstrosities for my friends to come across later. Everything kind of just snaps together, and you'll find recipes out in the world for more things like decorations and such to add to your home. It's got a lot of potential to make some fantastic structures, although I'd still give Enshrouded the edge here just for the pure creativity. But for someone looking for a more grounded building experience, this is likely going to suit you just fine. I don't foresee them taking the physics that much further, like going like the whole full-on Valheim route, like destruction or damage or, smoke inhalation. But I think it's still gonna be, it still looks pretty good as is. And I hope that when they kind of tweak the dragon parts of it, the attacks make more sense to needing to rebuild your base. The companion part to building is of course going to be the harvesting and survival elements. So let's talk a little bit about those. Like building, if you played a survival game, you're going to be very familiar with the mechanics here, with one big caveat that might be one of the best things this game is bringing to the genre: magic. You can do shit like this. With those trees, with knocking down all those trees at once or blowing up all those rocks, there's one devastating thing that's missing. Like, it makes me really sad. One of my favorite things from Valheim is missing from the game despite its clear connections. Trees do not damage you, nor your buildings. This part of the physics equation seems to be kind of missing, but they might make up for it by taking your usual dull harvesting and adding magical twists. There's something very satisfying about turning an entire tree into a pile of bones, cutting down a line of 3 trees at once with a magical axe, or exploding a ton of rocks. Harvesting is improved with these different magical elements, pulling away from the mundane start. But it doesn't just stop there, as they take it further. It's not just harvesting, adding things like the superheat skill that lets you cast fire directly into your crafting machine to speed things up, which also increases experience gain. These kind of tweaks to a tried and true system really kind of improve it, in my opinion. It no longer just set and forget or go about and do mundane tasks over and over. Now you can supercharge it by the skills that you learned after having done those mundane tasks. There is a progression here, and it's balanced with the need for other resources to cast those spells in the forms of runes, which you can get through combat, like killing those goblins, or by mining. But on the opposite side, food and water feels old. It feels basic. It feels like the same mechanic that has existed in these games forever. It's a bit tiresome. I've never really liked the survival element like this in general because they feel very micromanagey. I struggle enough to feed and water myself, and so needing to do that in a game is just something that's always been a bit unappealing to me. And it's made a bit worse in this game because it feels like those bars go down very fast. Even from the full bar, it seems to go down a bit too fast. It needs some tweaking. And honestly, I kind of prefer Enshrouded's approach to this, where cooking still mattered, but it mattered in the sense that it gave you bonuses. It was a net positive. Cooking things was a good thing to do, not a necessity to do. Whereas this just feels like, oh shit, I can't go do something fun. I need to go take some dirty water and make it into clean water. Although they do have buffs on certain food later on as well. So it starts to get into that system as you get later in the game. Our last little section here is going to be probably the one that many people don't care that much about, but I care a shit ton about. And that is the story, or the premise. The overall story is fairly interesting to me. You're on this continent where dragons have awoken. Dragons that are extremely hostile, and very quickly, from a world building perspective, you get to see this from the burned out buildings, a few ghosts lingering about, and of course, the notes you find throughout the world. And honestly, the ones from goblins can be quite humorous. There aren't many cinematic story moments like a full-on RPG, or even at this stage, many MMOs, but there was one. And I'm gonna show it here, and it's a little bit spoilery. It's probably like the main spoilery thing of this game, so if you wanna avoid that, you can just go to this little timestamp right here to avoid that spoiler altogether. But I'm gonna assume if you're still here, you don't mind this little tiny spoiler, and you're okay with seeing it. So here it is.
Oh,
Wait, what? The air grows. BB! BB!
what? I'm
There's
here.
a fucking dragon!
Oh!
Ah!
Go,
Wait,
run,
wait,
run,
wait,
run,
wait.
run. You, how? Get away from me! Oh my God, is it attacking you?
BB!
Oh!
Ah! Wait, wait,
Go,
wait,
go,
wait.
run! You, how? Get away from me! Oh my God, is it attacking you?
BB! Oh my god, there it goes.
I can't do any
Oh, shit.
damage to it.
Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Oh shit, oh shit.
Oh my God.
Run,
Bro, it's
BB,
just
just-
attacking
wait, are
the
you
castle.
dead? No,
I'm
you're still
outside
here.
the castle already.
You're already running. What the
Oh
fuck?
crap, dude, that was crazy.
Where'd he go? Did he leave?
Yeah, I think so.
Stuff like this is awesome in any game, and it's really awesome in a game like this because it takes it away from that feeling of this, like, here's the sandbox, go make stuff and don't die, into a more of an RPG experience, more of an MMO experience in a lot of ways, of feeling like a story unfolding. And I really like seeing that a lot, and I hope there's a lot more of that in the game. It adds to the world, it adds to the lore, and even like the notes and stuff like that, they add to it a lot too. One of the things that this doesn't have is voiced NPCs. Oh, sorry about the mess. Wait, it's gonna be an old man voice, right? Had a bit of a dragon problem, that's why we've called you. You've come at a great time, heroic opportunities await. The long forgotten place is just screaming to be explored. But before all that, how about we take you through some survival basics? I can work it out, skip the tutorial.
A few moments later.
Oh, okay, I'm just here. Oh. Numbers grow, so there's
fuck.
enemies.
Oh, I did.
Enemy goes. Oh.
You died,
dead.
killed by bad decisions. But even here, I think that there's fewer NPCs at the moment than what I'd like to see. It still kind of hovers very close to that empty survival world. Essentially, the stuff that exists is good, really good in some places, but it needs more. The last thing I want to talk about is a little bit outside of all of this, and it's a limitation to the game in general that I don't know will ever be possible to change. 4 players. That is the maximum number of players that you can play this game. If it sounds like not many players, it's because it is. Even in this genre, that's not many players to play a game like this together. These kind of shared world survival games, shared world co-op games, they tend to range between like 10 to 50 players, and sometimes like a game like, well, Rust, even though that's kind of a different thing entirely, hundreds of players. So seeing it with 4 adds some limitations to it. It means you can't kind of recreate the bigger thing, the bigger events, like the feeling of cooperation that comes with a larger group, even a 6-person group, or even a something more like leaning more towards a raid type thing in an MMO, where you have, like in Shrouded, you can have 16 people trying to kill one thing, and if you make the thing hard enough, it actually can feel like a raid. And that's one of the things that I think is going to be a limiting factor for this game in general going forward, having the servers that small. Same time, difficulty needs some work. Like in general, the difficulty needs work, but also the scaling of difficulty needs work. And I think it kind of hurt the fact that when I was playing with a friend, he advanced much further, but at the same time, he was basically destroying everything, and there wasn't any sense of danger. The sense of danger that you feel in Valheim doesn't currently exist in this game, for example. I'm not saying that it needs to exist like that. It's just a little bit more casual. But shit, this is a lot longer of a video than I planned. I thought this was gonna be like a 10-minute video. It's not, obviously. But if you want to find out why I wanted to cover this game and why I thought this was so important, especially as someone who generally covers MMORPGs on this channel, I've covered Enshrouded in the past, I thought it was important because a lot more MMOs should be doing stuff like this. Why should Jagex make a game in the RuneScape IP that's not another MMO? Well, I kind of covered that in this video right here if you want to see exactly what I mean and why I think this is so important and so helpful to the MMO genre in some ways, but more importantly to the IP itself. My name is Edward Flynn. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. Cheers, everybody.